Welcome to Voices of the Underground, hosted by Young Ty and Robert Geaux.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another brand new episode of Voices of the Underground EDM podcast. Today we're going to do a roundtable talking about some topics that have been happening over the past couple months. And today joining us, like always, is the co-host, Robert Geaux. How's it going, buddy?
Cheers, man. I'm doing good. How was your New Year's?
It's pretty good, man. Not much happening. So what about you?
Yeah, I stayed out of trouble. Saw the ball drop. Had a good time, and I've survived long enough to be here today. So I'm saying it's a win so far.
Exactly. We have a guest with us today in this roundtable. You have seen him on the first episode, so we would like to welcome back to the Voices of the Underground, Chaotix. How's it going, buddy?
Good. How you guys doing?
What's up, man? How's your holiday season, man? How did life treat you?
My holidays has been pretty interesting because we're starting a label.
Yeah.
I'm buying my first house. It was a busy holiday. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
It was a really busy holiday.
Yeah, both of those are extremely time consuming. Well, yeah, it sounds like you got a lot of good things going on. But yeah,
Oh yeah.
I'm excited, man. I wanted to do something like this to kind of kick off the new year with you boys and just kind of discuss, what we got going on in the scene, real podcast style, some of the do's and don'ts. But I also wanted to dive into this 1001 track list.
Yeah, me too.
That kind of that year in review, and I think it's understand what we're going to do here in the future. I think it's always good to kind of reflect on what's happened here in the past. So yeah, have you guys seen that list?
Yes, actually, I have to pull it back up on my phone real quick.
There's a lot to go over on this track list. So where do you boys want to start?
There is. I mean, we could start with the first thing that's up there, the top track of 2021, "Do It To It" from A Craze, a Florida native.
Really?
Actually know the guy. Yes, he lives in Tampa. I don't know if he's moving, but him and his sister still live in Tampa. I knew the guy a while back when he was making dubstep. Probably no one knows about that because this was the track that totally took Charlie off. That's his name's Charlie. Fucking banger from a track, like an old track that was like very popular, especially when I was a kid. I remember hearing that track all the time as a kid. And it's a very nostalgic track that he put a really sweet touch to. And like, I think what really brought the track to the next level was when Zed opened EDC with that track, with the Squid Games,
Yep.
like little like mix to it. Like I think that because like that went so viral on TikTok and Instagram. Track was doing good as it was, and then Zed just took it to the next level. And I think everyone was like, "What was this track?" And it made it to number one. I think it's the number one song in America too. I don't know if it still is, but a couple of weeks ago it was charted as number one song in America. So,
Well, yeah, that's huge. That's cool because we talked about it, right? We've talked about it in this show, and anyone who's watched it has known that like EDM presence in America, I think we all agree it's lacking, from where it was. But it's nice to see a song get that kind of traction here in our country.
oh yeah, definitely.
And then you also have like Love Tonight that has the Vintage Culture remix. You got the David Guetta remix on here as well too. Just a bunch of great tracks that I took over this year on 1001 track listen and just EDM in general.
Oddly enough too, for me, a lot of songs on here I've never even heard of other than like the Love Tonight Vintage and the Love Tonight David Guetta remix. Other than that, those are the only 3 songs on here I know, which is a surprising thing to me.
You got to realize that there's so many songs getting put on the 1001 track list and so many different labels and all that too, that it's kind of hard to keep up with everything.
Absolutely.
Well, that, and it speaks to a lot of it's tech house, right? Which is not something that we actively quite listen to. But if you look at the number one, moving down this list a little bit, the number one genre track listed was tech house.
Yeah.
So we're all not the biggest tech house people in the world. However, I like that genre in that it's versatile. It could be a pool thing. It could be a lounge club thing as well. So it has some versatility. And I think that's why it's doing so very well.
Well, let me ask you guys a question, because like looking at this pie chart that we're probably all looking at, where tech house coming in at number one with 22%, dance at 18%, followed by house at 15, trance at 9, main stage electro house at 8. What is dance? Because everything on here is dance music. It's music that people dance to. So what do you think classifies dance compared to everything else that's on that chart?
Maybe radio hits has something to do with it.
I guess I'd like to see like what. I guess we'd have to look at that.
I wish it broke it down to what it actually means by dance, like you mentioned.
Yeah, it's funny because it's all itemized very specifically, right? Prog, it's got melodic house and techno, future house, basically. So it's very, very specific to those genres. But then, yeah, there's this big. The second part is the dance chart. So I'll tell you what, we'll put the link in the description, Ty, and yeah, maybe we can get some feedback from some guys in the comments exactly what they think that is.
Yeah, because that intrigued me. I see that. I remember we were talking about it before we started the podcast. That dance came in at number 2, and it had me thinking. I'm looking at everything else on here. What makes dance different from all the other dance music? I thought that was an interesting thing to bring up there. I think we should definitely look into that.
And like Rob said, if you do know, leave it in the comments and let us know.
Yeah, maybe it's big room, huh? Wishful thinking.
Yeah,
Wishful thinking.
I mean, main stage and electro is at 8% right there, so
yeah,
it's in the top of the 50%.
I do want to add to that too, because that's something I noticed with like some friends posting their tracks being, the number 1 main stage track being one of the most played main stage track. I think it's kind of cool that we're not calling it big room, that it's falling under main stage and electro house. So I've been saying this for years, that I thought maybe because big room just evolved so much that maybe it isn't big room anymore. It needs another name. It's like main stage. So I like that kind of gets labeled like that. I think it's labeled like that on Beatport now too.
Yeah, I think that's where the David Guetta stuff is now kind of being slotted in at with Morton. It's just all considered main stage as opposed to like say future rave or anything like that. So I think it's under that umbrella.
Well, you also got to think too, like when you're at a festival, what is being played on the main stage, not on the side stage, on the main stage, big room. So
big room, yeah. I mean, you get guys or gals, DJs, Bonnie and Clyde. I remember I was going to see them on a main stage, and I know their music. It's not big room, and what did they play the whole set? Big room. Like, so that does make sense.
Well, talking about festivals and all that, let's get into it. Festivals this year, what do you guys think is going to happen with them? I know Ultra's happening. Do you think there's going to be anything else happening this year as well?
I think if Ultra's happening, everything's happening.
Everything's on the table.
Right.
Yeah, everything's on the table. If Ultra goes, everyone else goes. And they're going to go, you know what? Fuck it. Follow the guidelines. You want to wear a mask, wear a mask. If you got to be vaccinated, then I guess you got to be vaccinated. Whatever, whatever kind of mandate will be put in place to go to, keep safety in the area. I don't think there's going to be a lot of that at Ultra. They might have something where it's like we encourage you to wear a mask or something like that. Because Ultra, although I've never been to Ultra, I have everyone tell me that it's really difficult walking around in there trying to squeeze all that into Bayfront Park because that's where it is again. It can get kind of tight in Bayfront Park, and you're shoulder to shoulder with people. You're really close up to people, so they might do something like that. But yeah, with EDC that happened last year,
yeah,
it was successful.
Both of them, yeah, both the Vegas one and the Orlando one, the EDC Orlando. I don't see why they wouldn't go again this year.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, all dance clubs, nightclubs are open here in the States for the most part. I like to think we're on the downswing of things, COVID wise. But nonetheless, I think football stadiums are full capacity, right, for the playoffs. So I just think we're kind of past that stage. If it's going to happen or not, it's just a matter of like whatever mandate they put in place to have like a vax card or whatever the case is. But it's exciting though. It's exciting. I think everything's going to be open, full swing. I don't think there's going to be any size limitations or anything like that. So it's great because when we look at the top labels from last year, at least on the 1001 track list, it's interesting to see if there's going to be any difference this year now that we're going to have more festivals open. It's like what's going to get track listed more now, because I think festivals are going to have a big part in dictating that.
Let's get into it. The top labels and all that we were discussing before the podcast. that Armada is number 2, but rave culture is also Armada, or it was Armada. How do you guys feel about that?
Well, I guess I'll jump into that one because that was my back end research on that. We talked about this a few days ago privately between all of us and some other people that rave culture wasn't on there. Surprising to me a little bit considering that they had a really kick-ass year. But then I thought, rave culture used to still be under Armada, and I wasn't exactly sure when that transition happened, and it looked like it happened just this past summer. So while all these labels have been releasing for a whole year, you have technically rave culture as by itself releasing and having their name on 1001 Tracklist for only 6 months, so half a year. So that's pretty much half of everything that can be on this list. And I thought that was kind of interesting of rave culture not being on there, and I wonder if that could have something to do with it. But spinning being number one,
it's Old Faithful, man. It's like it's gonna be there. I know we all have nostalgic vibes when the big S would come up back in the early days of it, banging electro house and so forth. So obviously it's a little different now, but yeah, I mean, I think it still shows their diversity in releases, that the conglomerate that they are. Yeah, they're going to be on top of this list just about every other year.
Yeah, but another label that's good to see on this list too is Revealed Recordings, because big room label, right? But also noticed in the past couple of years trying to get a little bit more diverse. Some the techno stuff that like Maddox has been putting out. He's putting that out under Revealed. Right. You also do have a lot of big room, some progressive tracks, a little mix of everything. But at the end of the day, Revealed still is always going to be a big room label. So to see them as number 5 is pretty cool.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. I mean, obviously we know Gaspar well, and he's released Big Room on there. I like to think that that's going to be a continued theme for them as we kind of march back into festivals and things like that. And look, I mean, the fact of the matter is the wild card here, I mean, is Hardwell, right? Obviously. And I think it's not a foregone conclusion, but it's a strong assumption. He's going to be back at Ultra to play a set. I am curious to what that set's going to look like and how that, again, dictates the releases and the direction that Revealed's going to go in.
Well, yeah, that's interesting to talk about too, because let's talk about like someone else that made a comeback, Swedish House Mafia, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No one exactly knew. We all knew Swedish House Mafia was going to come back eventually, and then they come back with this one song, and I feel like everyone was expecting the next Reload and the next, all the Swedish House Mafia
Don't
songs
you worry,
that
child.
made them. Yeah, exactly. And they released this. I don't even remember the name of the song because it wasn't that memorable to me, to be honest. A lot of other people liked it. It Gets Better, right? Is that the name of it?
Yeah. We just kind of hoped that it would. And I'm fucked, man. I'm sorry. But no, but it goes to the point, like these guys are doing what they want to do. I mean, if you look at the streams, right, the Moth of Flame, the streams to those things are big time. Obviously, the Weeknd's on there, so of course that's going to be in the millions, no doubt about it. But it didn't have. Okay, so to your point, it didn't have this cascading effect of like, oh shit, I want to go start making big room progressive tracks or whatever the case is. It didn't really change anything as to what folks are doing.
Yeah, that's true, but I saw a lot of disappointed people when it came to that, especially like the diehard Swedish House Mafia fans, and everyone's like, "Oh, well, I mean, their tracks are doing really good. Maybe they just picked up a new fan base, and the old one didn't follow with them." And yeah, maybe they were a bigger fan base. People like that style more. You got to remember, Swedish House Mafia was like what, almost 10 years ago with those tracks. So I mean, that crowd got 10 years older, and 10 years is a long time. You get a new crowd now. I don't see Hardwell doing the same thing because Hardwell has diehard fans, both to him, to the label, to the genre, to everything Hardwell represented in the past. I hope still represents today. So I think when he comes back, I think it's going to be big room. Maybe might have a new sound to himself, but I do think it's going to be big room, might experiment with future what do you call future rave, right? Yeah, future rave. I could see him doing stuff like that. You know, he always like would pick up on trends and try to like twist it around.
I think,
you know.
but the thing with Hardwell that makes him different than, say, Switch House Mafia is he's been more involved. Even though he's been retired, he still does things with Revealed Recordings. He's still kind of involved with what's going on, kind of behind the scenes aspect. So I don't think he's been as disconnected. So I don't think, like you said, I wouldn't expect a crazy change. I don't think we're going to get a prog version of fucking Hardwell, but I do think I see. Okay, so here's my prediction, and I'm seeing harder sounds. That's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing harder sounds, and I'm seeing a kick up in tempo, and that's my guesstimate. Is it's gonna be a little bit faster and a little bit harder. I would think kind of like Maddoxy, but better. So, but better, but like still with the big room DNA, but just with some variation to it. I'm but that is my guess. But hopefully, I mean, it's got to first he's got to get on the fucking stage, and
Yeah.
and then we can find out.
Which
sure.
we all know for sure is going to happen. You know, maybe they didn't mean to do it, but Ultra put that list in alphabetical order. And then it was like when it came to H, it was like, oh, just blur that one out. No one
I
will
wonder
ever
who
know
that is.
Yeah.
It was like one artist in this entire scene with H. I mean, maybe there's more, but like the one everyone knows about that's in the top 100 is fucking Hardwell.
Oh, dude. And if it's not Hardwell, I feel real fucking bad for the artist that they reveal.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's going to be like,
everyone knows it's Hardwell. So if it's somebody else, they better tell us now.
There could be some angry. That's going to be a tough set.
People would be screaming out Hardwell, Hardwell, and like freaking like Marshmello comes up with a new alias. And it's like, dude. What? We just screamed Hardwell's name. I just hope that's not what happens.
Well, I want to talk about like when someone switches to a different genre and all that too. That can kind of hurt their career if they don't do it the right way, because all the fans that they had before, you know, kind of not digging what they're doing, or they are digging what they're doing. It can make or break you sometimes, right? We have that with we talked about TV Noise, wasn't it?
Yeah, a little bit.
I don't know. I think it depends artist per artist, and then what they're switching to. So if you ask Sebastian Matteo, right, and we've obviously had him on, he loves this new genre, and I don't think it has hurt his career not one. In fact, him switching, he's more of he's more streams, more of a household name now. Social media presence and those things might be a big part of it because he's dialed in there. But this is something we're going to ask Ollie James when we have him on the show. Is, you know, how has that affected your fan base? But when you look at numbers wise, yeah, some of the numbers are down, but then some of the numbers are up. It's really interesting to see. Definitely
an interesting thing to see. I think with people with switching genres around, I mean, as much as people would wish they would keep making that same music, sometimes you get a change of heart. You know, you started getting into another genre, and you start to realize to yourself, maybe I like this more than what I've been making, and I really want to make this, and I've been making it, and I'm having more fun making it, and I can do something fresh with it. And it's not that they have anything against Big Room, but you know, I was told when I went to music school, when I told my professor that I listened to Big Room, which he called like commercial house, it's too commercialized. He used to like hate on it so much. He was like, wait till you get older. You're going to be listening to tech house. You're going to be listening to deep house. He's like, just wait. You're young. I don't know, man. I'm about to hit 30 and I still love Big Room.
Yeah. Yeah. They tell you techno's the mature thing that the grown-ups listen to. And I can tell you I'm 40 and that's really not the case for me either.
No, don't get me wrong. I like those genres. I love my deep house. I love my techno, tech house. But it's not what I like to make. It's not what I like to listen to a lot. I typically am always gravitating to Big Room, to like just for listening pleasure. Always gravitating to Big Room or even trance, and those are the next labels on this list. Oddly enough, is the trance labels, A State of Trance and Our Mind, which is pretty awesome because I think they put out some of the best trance out there. Obviously, because they're run by Armin, so like he's the trance king.
You got Hexagon.
What do you guys? Well, I was going to ask, what do you guys think about Hexagon? You guys have any opinions on Hexagon?
Fuck, man. I haven't heard much of Don Diablo lately. Like, you know, like it just hasn't.
He's been
It hasn't
MIA.
for me it just hasn't really stuck. Like Mike Williams, I know he's on a break and hope he's doing well there, but it just that future house thing for me hasn't really gained traction, in the last few years for me personally.
I'm gonna say the same thing. I haven't really been following it too much. I mean, would you guys consider like someone like Oliver Heldens like future
A
house?
little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think going to like we were talking to like top labels, top artists, top listen track with the DJ Mag Top 100. When we were privately going through it the other night, I saw that Oliver Heldens, I believe, went up
Mhm.
in the top 100 DJs, and I haven't really heard anything from him. I remember when he was so big, he was always played on the radio. I was seeing him at every festival on that. Now it's like, where is he? Like
Yeah.
I don't know what he's doing anymore. So yeah, I guess it's like just the genre in general, like future house. Unless at the same time too, it could be like big room where it just kind of like fell into like a niche of people. Like his big room is a niche, and then within that niche, I see other niches too, like the reveal the big room, the rave culture big room. It could be like that, and we're just because we're not in that niche,
Yeah.
It could be.
that it probably isn't much going on with it, or we just don't know about it.
It's like any genre, though, dubstep or bass house or so on and so forth. Like everyone has their own fan base, and it's just so much to keep up with.
Yeah, and I think that's the new trend coming around too, is that like there's never going to be a number one genre. It's going to be what is your number one genre? Like it's, everything's just like very divided in EDM. I guess that like there's not a lot of people that go through all of the divisions. Some people kind of just dive straight into one of them. Us, it's big room, right? Not future house. So I think that's just how we're moving around in the industry now.
Yeah.
If that makes any
That's
sense.
why I think this year's list, or the end of this year, 2022's track list, will be so interesting because again, we have a full slate of everything. Every festival's on the table, all clubs are open, so it's gonna be interesting to see, what's doing better now this year because there are more festivals available.
Exactly.
So next on the list is top track list of 2021, and we have Timmy Trumpet at 1, Marshmallow at 2. But something that was pretty interesting to me was W&W came on this list twice with the Club Mythic,
Yes, they did.
and same thing with Two Friends with their Big Booty mix.
Yeah, their first one, W&W's first Club Mythic, was at number 3, whereas number 2 was number 10. And I believe 2 came out when in 2021, around what time of the year?
Volume 2 came out in the summer, late summer.
So late summer, so it came out around halfway through the year.
Yeah.
Where the first one did come out in the beginning of the year, right?
Yeah, first
Well, yeah,
quarter.
'cause
Yeah.
it's on the list, obviously. So it was entered into 1001 at 2021. For that to be at number 3, that's pretty big.
Oh, smoking, dude, smoking. And look, club, they had the sickest intros. I mean, obviously the graphics were fucking on point, but dude, Club Mythic number 2 was fucking right up my alley, dude. It was,
Oh
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
well, because it was like future rave sounds. It was more techno sounds. It was harder sounds. And I know there's some other guys we were hanging out with in the Discord. They weren't too thrilled with that.
big room sounds.
Yeah, and it was on top of that. It was big room, so it was like you had this blend of just dance music. Fuck, because it's like everyone's like, well, it's what's streamable or whatnot. That was dance music. This is what I signed up for. This is why I listened to this, is because I want to hear dance music, and that's what Club Mythic 2, both of them. But for me, especially number 2, that was right up my
well,
alley.
yeah, you got to think too, like when the rave culture city first happened, at the end of 2020, that was mind blowing. Like this is something new that has not been done before, and many people followed afterwards. Like Tomorrowland did something similar and all that too.
Yeah.
So after that, everybody was hyped for what the next thing was going to be, and they just knocked it out of the park with those.
I do want to add, going down the list here on the top track lists, Armin van Buren and Ruben Durand with A State of Trance 1000, the ASOP Top 1000 Final 50. Interesting fact that they are number 6, while W&W with Club Mythic Volume 1 is at 3. But if we scroll back up to the labels, Armada's number 2, while A State of Trance and Our Mind, which all fall under Armada, of course, at number 2, that the W&W Club Mythic, which is primarily rave culture tracks, is at a higher track list view than a big A State of Trance episode. And that podcast has been running since I can remember. I mean, since I got into this. So I think that says a lot.
Oh, yeah, traction. It talks like growth when you're looking at like, because you touched on before, like rave culture. Come on, guys, it's been around for 2 years, right? Like we talk about like now, obviously it was main stage before, but if you're looking at just the straight rebranding of rave culture, it's very, very, it's in infant stages of where a label is.
And if we want to go down to top radio shows of 2021, rave culture at number 8. Number 8 top listened to podcast. That was a tongue twister for me for some reason. But then again, Armin van Buren with A State of Trance at number 3. So higher, of course, but then again, we're talking about a radio show that's been around for a very long time. It's played on Sirius XM too. It's done live in a studio where you can watch it live on YouTube. It's got a bit more of an audience, I feel like, in the podcast realm.
Yeah, dude, and fucking Taihei's dad listens to it, so it crosses over. It crosses over generations. It's literally a generational show. It's quite amazing what they built. But yeah, because okay, look, well let's call it what it is, right? I mean, rave culture's put a lot of faster things out there, in 2021, more so than 2020, and it's risky, right? It's risky. They're not just a big room label. They've come out and said that when they made it, but when you put out Sub-Zero Project on rave culture, I wasn't quite sure how that was going to be received by a lot of people. It's clear that people are consuming this. And I know I'm like the president of the Up-Tempo Club over here, but I'm just saying, like, that's the kind of dance music. I know there's happy hardcore on there and what Axmo's doing and all that, but dude, people like that and they're consuming that. So bottom line is, if it's danceable and the music is good, fuck, people are going to listen to it regardless of BPM.
That's true. And the higher BPM stuff's doing pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we just made a case. We just made a case for rave culture there. We can be a part of their PR team now. But okay. So labels. So I'm really curious what labels are going to be growing. And every year we know that there's labels that were pretty big or medium size, like you can say, that tend to fall off and just dissipate. What do you guys have labels wise do you think is going to have an upswing? Just it's early, but just kind of based on what you're seeing and what you're hearing.
Leaving my label out of it, or?
Well, yeah, we'll leave your label out of it for a little later. Just a quick mention on that. But what do you see like outside of it? Because now that's your realm, right? Understanding what other labels and even partnering and these types of opportunities, that's kind of in your realm now.
Yeah, a little bit. If like what I think are going to be labels that come up, it's like I'm still looking at this list and looking at the top 10 labels. Rave culture not on there, of course, because I speculate that because for the first half of the year they were still part of Armada Music. I think next year in the same list we're going to see rave culture up there. Definitely up neck and neck with Revealed. It's like I said, that could have been this year, but because of the first half year, they were still part of Armada, and I double checked that 1001 Tracklist has Armada next to it. Those are in the Armada list, I guess, for that number 2. So that sucks that rave culture wouldn't make it on this list this year. But now that that's over, we're in a new year now, and next year this is probably going to come out again. I'm going to see rave culture on that list for sure.
Yeah. I think so.
I'm surprised not to see Maximize on there.
Well, so Maximize, if we're going to talk about growth, and this is just my opinion. It's just my opinion. I'm not trying to knock on Maximize because I fucking love Blasted Jack. They're my biggest influences. I don't see them growing too much. It's like almost like they've been like sort of static. for the last couple of years.
Why do you think that is? Blasterjack had a ton of releases this past year. Is it oversaturation? Do you think it's quality over quantity? What do you think?
I think it's a mixture of both. Blaster Jacks, I get it. You know, they're those guys that want to stick to their sound and not really evolve too much because they always want to sound like Blaster Jacks. I do wish they would just evolve a little bit more. When I heard Tarzan with their collab with Armin, reminded me of like what Rocket sound like, but if Rocket was made in 2020, right? So,
Yeah.
like it really blew me away, and I really wish I heard more stuff like that. I think it's like just the big EDM-ish breaks with like the big super saws sounding like we're in that 2013 to 2017, 2018 time period. Every time I hear that in a Blasterjack song, I kind of want to like skip and go back, just go to the next drop, which is something I never do. But when it comes to a Blasterjack song, so I think it has something to do with that. And Rob, like you said, with the slight oversaturation of releasing too much music, it's a lot to keep up with.
Yeah. It
So I
was.
kind of take a break from listening.
Yeah, I like. See, I know they recently did a collab with Hollywood Undead, so they kind of crossed over there in genres, which was really cool. But yeah, it's a lot from them. I know they're busy, and I know they love. See, it's the fine line, right? Because they love producing, they love making music, and we said it, I think, on last year's show. I'm not sure too many people are having more fun than Blasterjacks in the studio.
Agreed.
But yeah, you're right. It's a lot to keep up with. Like as far as the release, I was like, fuck, they released this past week, so. And yeah, and then so do you? Okay, well here's a follow up question for both of you guys. You've talked about this in your own label. Do you think like weekly releases is just too much in 20? Like there's so much from so many different labels, it just gets lost in the meta.
Weekly releases, no. I don't think it's too much. I think if you're releasing too much in a week, which is what I'm seeing labels do, like there will be a release Wednesday, one Monday, one Friday. Maybe there's two on Friday. We have like the sub label release and the main release all today. That's when I say that's when I say it's too much. But even weekly, even though I'm saying no, it can be too much. What I liked, what rave culture was doing way back when they started, and I've said this plenty of times to you guys in private, is that I like when they first started out, they were kind of releasing like almost like once a month, if that. Like it was like if rave culture released a track, it was like the world stopped spinning. But that's what made them what I thought they were going to be. It was because they were releasing so little. It felt like every time I like that wait that I waited for and waited for and waited for, and it finally came. I asked, and they delivered. It's like that track meant so much more to me. It's finally out now. I heard it in the Future Heroes of Big Room. I heard it in the Club Mythic set or rave culture or wherever or a live show, and now it's finally coming out. And I felt like it always held more weight when that track came out. I felt like everyone was rushing to go hear that song. But now they're releasing a lot more now. I think weekly. I think so. Which I'm noticing myself not really following the label anymore, but just seeing when the guys I listen to on that label just go back on that label. You know, like I know Kevu and my friends Axmo, or they're going to be coming out with a track together, and I'm really really stoked for that. But I only know about this track because of through them, like watching their Instagram stories or whatever, or talking to them, and it's like I only know about that because of them, not because of rave culture. So if I wasn't really following them so much, I wouldn't even know that song was going to come out, and I'd probably not listen to it. It became actually a trend when they started releasing more and more. I would be like, oh, that guy released a song on rave culture. I didn't hear that. When did that come out? 2 weeks ago. How did I miss that? And there's like now there's just tracks on the label now I haven't listened to because I don't like the oversaturating of releasing too often.
Well, Ty, you get the promo lists as well, so you're seeing this label, and they're giving you an X amount of tracks ahead of time. So yeah, do you find yourself like, hey, I mean, try to sift through this, or do you think in an era where information is constantly coming down the pike, that's a good thing?
It's hard to keep up with. Like we all have, lives outside of music. It's hard to keep up with. So when I'm just going through my demo mail and all that, I see names that I recognize. I click on theirs, but then I try to, go through some other ones as well. I can't keep up with all of it at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's tough. Well, especially when you start introducing sub labels. And look, I like sub labels in a sense. They're going to give some guys some opportunities that might not otherwise have those opportunities. And that's how you kind of discover things. But yeah, it could get pun intended chaotics here when you are trying to sift and find an actual good track that you like.
Yeah, it's like going back to Adam's statement and all that too. That Revealed does like 4 or 5 releases on Fridays with Radar, so it's
Yeah.
oversaturation sometimes.
Definitely.
So underground scene wise, right? So labels. Now we're just starting to see labels release here in the new year. I think our good friend Zance had one came out today as a time of recording. Are you seeing any labels? I'll start with you, Ty, that are kind of stepping up their game, or are you? What have you seen thus far? I mean, we're so young into the year. I know.
Yeah, it's hard to see who's going to do big things in 2022 besides what we know. But HDR, we've talked about them before.
Yeah.
They're going to be doing bigger things. They're stepping up their game with their artwork, their videos.
Yeah, dude, you see that fucking video that they put out, man? That is very clean, very crisp, and very very concise. I like that a lot.
But underground wise, I really don't see. I really don't see a whole lot anymore. Blasting's not a thing. Spur's not
Yeah,
really doing too much.
right.
What about you guys?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, Adam, I guess this will kind of deflect to you here because yeah, there are some labels that kind of have gone static into the night. You feel like you've talked about this that there's a little bit of a void there, so we need to hash that. But what are you doing to kind of step it up and add maybe your flavor to things?
Yeah. So it's like Ty was saying, blastings is not becoming a thing anymore. A lot of the like underground labels really aren't much of a thing anymore. Black Box, I know that was Quartzo, now it's Black Box. They were a really good platform for, up and comers for a while. I mean, that's how I found out about Sabres. That's how I found out about a lot of people was Quartzo, believe it or not. And now it just kind of feels like there's one underground label. I mean, yeah, you have HDR, you have Glow, but uh, there's Intensity Recordings, and it's either them or it's everyone else that's at the top. The Rave Culture, the Revealed, the Armada, In Harmony, Reaching Altitude. It's like there's no bracket for lower talent that does make good music. I'm just speculating. I've had some friends kind of like tell me some things. Like, I really don't care to say this, but I do think Intensity is trying to sign people with bigger names. And once bigger names start getting on that underground label, the problem is the younger names don't really get approved anymore. The bigger names, not only is their music bringing in plays to the label, but the name itself is just getting numbers to the label. And the void is I think there isn't a lot of fairness. And I'm not the kind of person where it's like everyone gets a trophy, but no, everyone deserves an opportunity. So to be denied a song or a release on a label, and I'm not saying just Intensity, I'm saying it could be a plethora of other labels that are out there. If you send a good song and they like it and the teams like it, and it's like, but you only have like a few hundred followers on Instagram. No one really knows who you are. Your monthly listeners are pretty low. Your last track didn't do so good, even though this one's really good and we know it's going to do really good. And I don't think that's really fair just because someone doesn't really know how to push themselves in the social media world, but they make good music. The void I think that's there is that, and record labels back then or should still be this way. But like record labels were the people that helped push you to get to that level where you do have a lot of followers, and now people are starting to know your name. And I'm seeing labels that are, and I'm not saying every label's like this. I'm not saying just one label's like this, but some are, some aren't. I'm seeing like laziness where it's like, well, we don't want to spend a lot of money on your music because, people don't really know. You got to spend money to release a song. Promotion ain't free, marketing ain't free. You have to pay for it. Whether it's playlist submissions or anything, it takes time out of your day to send it to like a bunch of DJs or writing up a promo list for your label. Like all that takes time, and time is money. So I just thought maybe there should have been someone else to come into the scene to kind of be a little different than everybody else. You don't have to have a lot of followers or monthly listeners, but if you send a good song, I think you deserve, someone to help push you a little bit.
Yeah, because you talked about that, the inherently role of the label to promote you as opposed to, hey, show me your supports and I'll show you a contract, right? Like
there's a reason why the label gets a percent. Like you're selling the song to the label. Like I think that gets lost in translation a lot. It's like you're not asking a label, "Hi, can I put your logo on top of my cover art?" It's like, "Hi, I'm giving you this song. You can have it. I'll take half of it. You take half of it. We both own it together." That's what the contract says. I own this much of this song. You own this much of this song. I'm selling a part of the song to you because you're going to do your magic with it. Otherwise, if they're not going to do that, I might as well just go to fucking distrokid.com and just upload it there.
Yeah.
So there's a reason why you're selling part of the track to them, is because they're going to spend money to make money. Of course, they want to make money too. And you're going to make money in turn with it, but they're going to take a lot more than what you could get. I've seen some contracts from other labels. Some are 50-50s. Some are, the artist gets a lot lower than what the label gets, but the labels, they're a business. They're basically a marketing business for your music, where you sell them your product, you keep a little bit of it still, and then they go out and they sell the product, and then they make a profit.
Yeah, totally. And then see that. Okay, so going back to, we talked to Neil from HDR, he's the owner there, and I think he'll be on the show here soon enough. But they're coming out with something that I think it's just fantastic for the community, about what record labels look for in artists and tracks and demos. So it's kind of like I'm not too familiar with the project, but I know they're rolling it out pretty soon. So it's a lot of really good information in there for artists. I think that's the biggest thing is this moving target of what a label is looking for and what you have to be quote unquote signable. So when the way you're talking, it's a level playing field, whether your name's is Zax or Young Ty or whatever your name is, it's a level playing field. And then the music is then going to dictate, how you're going to sign tracks.
Of course, I need proof they have talent though, because I'm not signing these.
Oh, dude, I saw your Instagram post about that. There was a section in there. Yo, if this is a fucking FLP, you're banned. You're done. We're done.
Yeah. I am putting that. It's in the project file for the website still. Actually, it's even going to say in the demo submission rules that if you send us an FLP, you are permanently banned from ever sending, because I want someone to read that and think, I'm taking a risk. If they are someone who did do that, where they took an FLP off YouTube or a 7, 8, 9, 10 pack or something, if you did that and you're about to send me that, like, you had to sit here and read the rules. I think I put it somewhere in the middle too, so there's no way they're skipping it. To where they read that, they're like, oh, if I send this shit, I might get banned forever, and I'm gonna have to change my whole artist name. Like, we're gonna have a system in place where it doesn't just block the email, where if there's a certain word in there, like from that artist, like if they say like from such and such, and they change their email, but it's the same artist that sent an FLP previous, we're gonna have it so it also blocks that as well.
Dude, this is literally the CIA of demo submissions.
No, it's because I know the tricks that people have, and I just want to be prepared for when people think they can outsmart on my label. They won't be able to.
Yeah, that's interesting.
It's a serious offense to me. It's a serious offense, honestly. Like, it's something that really ticks me off in the industry where people do that. And
and I think you'll help people in the long run, because if you can get some people to think, you know what, maybe I shouldn't be doing this, but I'm in it for the wrong
exactly
reasons.
Because if you're not doing it for the right reasons, then why are you doing it?
Yeah, no, exactly. And then you had Sounds of Chaos. You basically played. Now, for those who aren't familiar, it's up on your YouTube channel. No, it's on the
No,
Chaos.
it's on the Chaos
We
Recordings
could put a
YouTube
link in
channel.
the bio.
Okay, sweet. Because that was fire. That wasn't like some radio show, fucking 3 minutes, and then we're all gonna fall asleep to this track list here. That was a different kind of sounds.
Yeah. Because that's not what it was meant to sound like. It was not meant to sound like this podcast thing. It was meant to sound like me being in the club again. Because like anytime, like back when I used to DJ and people would send me demos or promos or IDs or whatever, that's primarily what I played. I wasn't playing known tracks unless it just came out and it's a big one and I know people want to hear it. I'd play it, but I loved going to see Blaster Jacks. I loved going to see W&W, and I loved seeing Andrew Royale. And anytime I saw them, it was like, I don't know a single song they played. They were all IDs. They were all promos, IDs, whatever. And I always thought the best show was the one I didn't know I wanted. So that's what I tried to do with Sounds of Chaos, was putting on a show that was unheard of, because every track in there, with the exception of Jesus's Mr. Probs remix, because that he sent it to me and then it came out after the fact. And I was like, it's not an ID anymore. So that was the only non-ID in there. But I thought putting together this all ID show, it's all tracks no one's heard before, and I'm mashing up songs no one's ever heard before with songs that people have heard before, you know, like some pretty big like hip hop songs. I always like mixing hip hop with Big Room when I played it live. Always gets a crowd crazy. I was like, wow, this is like a show no one's ever heard before. So I thought, let's just deliver a show that people didn't know they wanted. And I didn't want to do it in a podcast format because, like you said, it gets boring.
Oh, dude, I like. No, they're a dime a dozen, dude. Let's just keep it 100 around here. It's a dime, and it's tough to keep up with them. You talk about oversaturation. Everyone's got a radio show, and they do have a place. I do want to preface that they do have a place, and they do help people with IDs and tracks that are going to come up. And I know you know, Ty, you do one as well. So yeah, I do like it. I like the shows that have like you said, remixes, bootlegs, even if familiar stuff in there, just to kind of make me feel like I'm listening to a DJ set. Because Ty, it's been now clubs have been closed or opening up in your. It's been a while, right, since you've DJ'd live, right? You know, you still got it, man. You still have the DJ vibes in you.
Who knows? I'm gonna
Well, we're gonna find out this year, because I'm convinced you're gonna be playing again.
Yeah.
When you kind of get all settled in there, but yeah. Okay, so DJ, do you have like a go-to? Oh wait, go ahead.
I was going to say, I did want to add, what we did with Sounds of Chaos was, it was kind of inspired by W&W's like Future Heroes, a Big Room like type thing, because I thought that was really cool. Everything in there was an ID. None of the tracks were ever heard before. They came out with a volume 1. I'm still waiting for volume 2.
Yeah,
I don't foresee that happening. So that I kind of got influenced by that, but to do Sounds of Chaos Volume 1, because there is going to be a Volume 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 5, and every 3 to 4 months there's going to be a new volume. 4, 8. Every either 3 to 4 times a year there's going to be one. So within a couple of months, around April, is going to be the second one, and it's going to be the same thing every time. It's going to be a club style mix with IDs, potentially tracks that are going to be on the label. A lot of the ones in the first one, some of them were already signed to bigger labels. I mean, some of them are already coming out. Like I played Nick Hampson and Bugatti, that's on Revealed Radio, that just came out. There's a lot of songs on there that I think Franny sent me a song that's on Revealed now. I think that embargo's lifted. I can talk about that, right?
Yeah. It's on social, so it must be.
Yeah. And Revealed sent me the demo or the promo for it on Monday. So I mean, So like, there's a lot of tracks on there. They're not signed to Chaos. Some are. I would say probably about half of them are going to get signed to Chaos, and the other half were just friends sending in IDs, which I was really fun, because you know, not every song on there is going on Kaos Recordings. So I thought that was kind of cool. But we're going to try to do it more and more every time. So it primarily is going to be songs on Chaos, on Chaos after a while while we do the show.
The flagship song for the label, when's that dropping?
Yeah, no, February 4th is going to be the first track, and it's a solo from me. Played it in Chaos Sounds of Chaos. But I only played the first half of it, so everyone's gonna hear the whole kit and caboodle, I guess, on February 4th. It was actually a flip up between that track and another track I have called Chaos. A song I made a long time ago, but I thought wouldn't be a bad idea to release under this label. Because it was very chaotic track, and I renamed it Chaos. But after getting some feedback from you guys in private, you all said, no, this is the one that you're going to put out first. And I was like, okay. So I took the feedback. So yeah, February 4th, Burn It Up is going to be the track from me.
Nice. Looking forward. It's a good track, dude.
Can I just say it's stuck in my head?
Oh, dude. I'm so fucking mad at you because you would send it to us for some feedback, and then 2 days later, I'm like, man, this is not coming out of my head. This is not. Because that teaser video, too, that's where it started. All this shit started when you put out the teaser video. And I was like, yo. And yeah, it's been stuck for the last month ever since.
Yeah, I'm excited to put that one out. I'm really it's one of my favorite songs I've made so far. Because it kind of has like a blend of absolutely everything I've done since the first original of Chaotix. I kind of was like taking bits and pieces from everything I've made to blend it all into like one track. So like a very interstellar sounding drop using sounds from Galactica and the break. A lot of like chord stabs, like what I also did in Galactica and Throttle and stuff like that. So just kind of taken from like every track I've made and kind of pieced it all into this one track. It was a lot of fun to do.
Yeah, totally. So we talked about labels. There's some guys, some individuals, artists who I love keeping an eye on. And right off the rip, I mean, what are we in January? They have like 10 tracks signed, or I'm probably exaggerating a little bit. But guys like, dude, Xance, he just got signed to a major label. I don't know if there's an embargo there, so I won't say it. But
I think there is.
Okay, so he's on a major label, but because I love these stories because they come out of guys from the underground scene, right? And that's really what this is all about. If you look at it from sports, you play in the minor leagues and you get up to the big show, and this is really that progression that I know a lot of artists who watch the show are looking to do. And when guys like Xance get signed and he's got a lot of different tracks and collabs and so forth, it's huge for people to see that.
It's fun to watch too, like these people that we know personally growing and getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah, Gaspar, for one. I mean,
I've heard of him.
Yeah. I listen to some of his music sometimes, but I think he's a big one too. I remember, when him and we started out around the same time. He's actually one of the very first friends I made, like by making connections through social media. He sent me this one track. I can't remember the name of it. And he's gonna hate me because he's made so much music after that. But his track that got supported by Dioro, I remember he sent it to me, and I was like, dude, like, why are you sending this to me? Send this to Revealed. This is amazing. And he's like, Revealed said no. I already sent it to them. I was like, get the fuck out of here. I was like, Revealed, they're passing up on a good track, and now look where he is now. Like, he's got multiple releases coming out on Revealed.
He is going to have a fucking monster year. I mean, we've obviously know what's on the horizon, and yeah, I think people are going to be really pleased when he has his stuff dropping, because it's going to be pretty good.
This is gonna be a big year for him for sure, especially being with Revealed. He's right where he belongs, in my opinion.
Yeah, you get the sense of that. Yeah, he's one of the guys in this business is very, very driven, right? So if you go to socials, he's putting like motivational thing. He's also an open book. That's what I like about artists when I follow them, when they kind of share their stuff with you. It's not superficial, right? It's not them in front of a fucking Lambo. It's like he had his surgeries, right? And he's sharing things with you. So you kind of feel like you're a part of the journey. I love when artists do that.
Yeah, definitely. I like when, I've always been told too, as an artist, don't share your life. And I see some people do that, but I see people that do share their life, and like I tend to like resonate with them more because I get to see the human side of them a little
right
bit more.
If it's real, right? Like some of the Gaspar stuff is very real situations. He's obviously had his medical surgeries and so forth, so you felt connected. And now it's like you have almost a bond, right? You almost have this bond with the person who's sharing, opening themselves up to you. Ty, you know a couple guys that have got some stuff coming up. Who are you seeing right now that's off to a fast start this year?
There's a guy that I sent to you a lot. His name is Killscript. He kind of reminds me of like that IO, like techno music and all that. I feel like he'll have a big year because he's been doing like EDC and he's part of Armada and just intertwined with Insomniac. So I think he'll have a big year as well too.
This is the guy you were talking about in Discord the other day, right?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
That I would like to have on the show.
Yeah, I like that because he's not in this like circle, right? This circle that we talk about quite a bit. He's kind of a talent that's out of the would you say he's more techno?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, he's got some banging tunes, man. So no, I like that. And that's kind of what I wanted to do this year too, is look at artists from different genres, different walks of life. Because we all have our Discord circles, but there are so many good talented guys out there that that can make an impact.
Yeah, you can all ask them, hey, like, what do you think of Big Room?
Oh, fuck, you're gonna get the same answer every time. They're gonna be like, "Fuck is that?"
Oh no, here we go again.
There's a reason we make techno, buddy. No, it's a good time, but yeah, dude, no, I'm really excited about this year, and it's interesting to see because again, there's so many unknowns. This is gonna be the first year it's gonna feel like 2019. I'm fingers crossed, hoping it's like that.
What about you? Who do you think will be, big this year or do some good things?
Oh, dude, I mean, just on the circle in which that we run in, you look at like Aki Hero's got some things. We already talked about Gaspar and Xance. Those are some guys that I know have some really big collabs coming up and that I know of early on that are going to be good. High end, there's a name we haven't really talked about a whole lot. I believe he's out of Thailand. He's got some hard stuff going on. I think he'll be really good. So yeah, we have a lot of exciting things to really look forward to this year.
I can't give out details, but I do know some details, but I'm not going to give out any, but I think Ezra Hazard's going to have a good year.
Oh, I'm so mad. I feel like throwing my fucking cup right now. That dude, yeah, that guy is going to be a fucking animal this year, dude.
If you're not following him on his social media, go follow him because he's about to have a big year too.
Yeah, and it's good, dude, because okay, we've seen it where guys will have collabs and it's kind of ho-hum. It's good. It's better for the artist than it is for the consumer, better for the listener. It's like, oh, that's a cool track. This Ezra Hazard collab that he's got going on, not only is it good for him as an artist, but it's a fucking banging tune.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about him. His music is so rich, and he's an Ableton guy.
Yes,
he's an Ableton guy. Had a baby.
You guys do this every episode.
Don't think I have not forgotten. Just because it's a new year, it is not a new me. And he is an Ableton guy, and that's why I'm also in this corner.
Ezra's an Ableton guy. I've been learning a lot more and more people are going to Ableton now. So.
Are we starting the year off like this? Come on.
Yeah, they said Ableton's the new FL. I don't know. People are switching.
I wouldn't say it's the new FL. It's the new.
Yeah, dude. Hey, even Taihei got the extended suite edition.
If anyone's looking to buy Ableton, don't buy suite. You don't need it. Doesn't come with what you need.
It's nice, but it's not necessary.
Yeah. I mean, you and I are both Ableton guys, so we all know standard is quite literally all you need. You don't need any of that other stuff that comes with suite. And suite, it comes with like samples too, and like these weird synths you'll never use, and just really cool like audio effects racks of plugins you already get from standard, but like they just mash them together into like one effects rack and put it into suite. So it's like they say you're getting more when you're really not. You're getting the same thing, just rebundled into different things.
Yeah, that must be great.
And it's $600 more. So
but does it come with Soundgoodizer? Does it come with that? Because I am told that is the holy grail of plugins. I'm sorry.
No, but it comes with the original OTT, because that's
dude.
People don't know that OTT comes from Ableton, and because us Ableton people only had OTT, Extra Records had to make their own plugin called OTT, so FL Studio users could use OTT. And Soundgoodizer is literally OTT and British Clean on Camel Crusher, so all you have to do is that. And you have sound guys are in Ableton.
Go on, keep going, keep telling me more. Come on.
Well, we can't leave out the glue compressor. Okay,
one of the most famous compressors in the world from the Untitled G-Bus compressor.
Oh man! Oh, Ty's left the chat. He's out of here, folks. It's just I'm here with my new co-host, Chaotix.
Good to have you back, Rob.
Yeah. Oh, welcome back. But yeah, no, but I am excited, man. I'm excited because some of these tracks too that are coming out that we've heard a quick preview of, they're like crossover tracks, and they've got different genres blended into them. So I just think that should be the new normal. Is let's take whatever's cool at Future Rave, and maybe we can take a hard style track, and then maybe we can take elements from over here, from Big Room and so forth. And you know what? Let's come up with some innovative shit.
And you know what? I think a lot of people learned their lesson from Future Bass, because remember when Future Bass became a thing? Everybody was making future. I even think Hardwell made a Future Bass track. Martin Garrix was making. Everyone was making Future Bass when Future Bass came out. And it got so oversaturated so quick that genre died in 3 months.
Oh, dude! Yeah,
but Future Rave, on the other hand, I'm not seeing people do that. I'm seeing people take like some influence from Future Rave and put it into their style of music, like blending it with Big Room, blending it with trance. Like that's so cool. To like now we're getting innovative here. This is what I like to see.
Yeah, and like Gaspar, he's always got it on length. He's like, it doesn't have to be the most complicated track.
Oh, absolutely not.
But being creative, I think, is going to have stylized points, especially when you're looking to kind of separate yourself from the pack. Having a touch of creativity, I think, is going to be really important.
I think doing a lot of blending and hybrid stuff, you could still be simple and still do that at the same time. Just don't get over complex with like putting so many weird things in your track, 10,000 things at once. Like, this is so unique. It's like the first 2 bars of my drop are 128, and then it goes to 150 with a hard style kick, then to a side trance rolling bass, to a Big Room kick, back to 130 BPM. See, this is like, no, that's like.
Hold on, I'm writing that down. Hold on.
Yeah, so you're saying you can do that?
Yeah, you can do that. Is it going to sound good? Probably not.
Yeah, we won't be accepting those demo submissions.
Hey, if somebody send me a track that does that and it sounds bomb, awesome.
Yeah, I guess anything's on the table, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it'll be hard to mix into, but yeah.
Exactly. Especially if they're doing that in the intro and I'm trying to mix it and it goes from 128 to like 150. Oh shit, you didn't like going up in the tempo and then bringing it right back down to 128.
everything's checked off and mixed in key. It's all
at that point. The most hated button on CDJs. Sync.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not fucking with this one, bro.
But so let's talk about playing live real quick. Ty, we kind of touched on it a little bit earlier. Man, what's your guys' game plan to get your skin back in the game?
It's just making more music for me at the moment, but I feel like once I make some more music and put it out there and be able to build up my, resume, that I can show these clubs and all that I deserve to have, some kind of shot at opening up or something, because it's been such a long time since I've done a show and all that. So Adam, what about you, man? To answer Rob's question.
So since COVID is over now, there is at least Miami, New York, they're trying to book people who aren't as expensive. That usually means people sort of like me, and there's a lot of people like me, so it's like it's actually more competitive than ever. I do have Atlantic City hookups. Those Atlantic City hookups heard Sounds of Chaos, and we're like, we want to bring this sound back into our club. So I'm talking with some people in Atlantic City, which would suck. I'd have to travel a lot. It would have been nice to kind of work my way into Miami a little bit. But right now, that's what's going on for me. It's getting competitive right now, especially for younger talents to get into clubs, because that's who they want to book now, and there's a lot of them. So you got to get competitive. You got to be good and give. Like, if I had advice for anyone trying to do the same thing right now, give yourself the upper hand when it comes to being in that line of people who want to get into that club, and being a producer is one of them. So, yeah, I think Ty, you trying to just kind of sit back and work on track smart. That's a good idea. I have tracks out. I have more coming out. Big plans, big tracks. Problem is just getting into the clubs now and letting time do its thing. But with COVID kind of reaching its end, I hope, um, and clubs opening back up, but them not really wanting to go straight into booking bigger guys again because they just kind of can't afford it right now. So they're trying to like kick up some revenue. Um, to get in the club right now is pretty competitive.
Because I think that's so important. I'd put a premium on just any like my personal goals. I put a premium on playing live. I want to be. I'm this optimistic where I'm thinking 2019 or 2022 is going to be like 2019 where everything's just open and we're quote unquote normal. Um, I'm really hoping that's the case. I'm seeing a lot of shows come back in my area, in my part of the world. So like Morton was just here on Saturday. Granted, tickets were like $10, and I was like, "Whoa, you can't give these things away." But I'm hoping with the we're on the back end of what we've been going through the last 2 years. So yeah, I just think that's going to be a huge premium. We've talked about it all at length, tracks that can work live. Let's talk about DJs that can work live because I think that's so important, right? The only way to play a track live is to be able to DJ live. And I think, getting producers back onto the stages, I think is going to be really key for anyone's individual brand.
Yeah, and with people going back on stages too, I'm still seeing artists do like these virtual live shows on YouTube. That's not gonna hold its weight anymore. That's just advice. That's not hating on anyone still doing it. I just want to make that super clear. If that's the only way you can do it right now to keep showcasing how you can entertain people, by all means, I actually advocate you still do that. But people who are, definitely a step above that, they should be working to try to either get like a booking agent, talent agency, something, and start getting into clubs again. Or clubs now if they haven't before and COVID was their time to shine in productions wise. Now it's time to get in the clubs.
Yeah, it's had its purpose and it's ran out its purpose. So it's time to start getting these clubs back again, like you said.
Yeah, like it's like I said, with Ultra still happening now, like with EDC still going to be going on. We're going to see Electric Zoo coming back, and I'm talking about just US festivals alone. I'm already getting emails that they're going to have Ultra Europe, Ultra, whatever. Tomorrowland, I believe, will be happening. So at that point, you can get into a club.
Yeah, no, dude, it's on the table. And that's just how you have to think this way, right? We have to think the best. And there's no way to push the scene forward unless you're getting your ass out there and pushing the scene forward. Hey, a green screen in my fucking bedroom is not going to advance the scene here in the United States of America. It's just not. It's just not going to get it done. So if you're like really passionate about this and your music or big room, I know a lot of guys in the circles we run in gotta get out there. Fucking get out there and perform and show these people, because you said this a couple weeks ago and it has not left me since. We were having a random conversation in an open Discord chat and you were like, look, Tomorrowland has been around, but Tomorrowland is Tomorrowland because of big room and festival music.
I don't think that's exactly how I worded it. I think the way I worded it was festivals have been festivals, but big room is what made festivals what they are today. Like you look at Ultra before Martin Garrix and Blaster Jackson Hardwell, there's like the pre big room and then there's the post big room of festivals. That was the genre where they were like, this has gotten big. Like we need to make these festivals bigger. We need 5 more stages at least. We need to be able to hold twice as many people. Like I've never seen Tomorrowland so big in my life. I've never seen EDC so big in my life.
Dude, here's a little history. We have a history channel in Discord. Fucking EDC was going off. I mean, it's been around for a long time, but they've gradually made it bigger, and it was at the Coliseum here in LA. And then once that explosion happened, the quote unquote golden era, they were like, well, they had some incidents in LA too, but they moved it to Las Vegas, and now you're getting 250,000 people a night in that motherfucker. And again, it's because, and I think we all believe this, because Big Room, when that exploded, everything kind of coincided with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So The only way to get this back is to go out and play live. God, I'm gonna say, dude, whoever watches this show on the fucking weekly or bi-weekly basis, I'm gonna sound like a broken record because I just think it's that important. It's just that important.
We all enjoy Big Room and all this so much. That's why we're so passionate about it and get into the States even more.
But it's like I said, like me, U.S., Miami, very competitive. New York, still pretty competitive.
Sure.
DJ guys, lucky to be playing up there. Like he's got it going up there. He's playing a lot of shows and he's playing for a lot of big people. It's really competitive. So not only do you have to know how to make music, now you got to learn how to play it. Because you can't go up on stage like you're mixing your podcast. You eat the crowd. True. You got to look at the people. Like when that drop hits, you got to look at that crowd. Are they dancing? Nope. Don't play another song that sounds like that one. Oh, they would totally love if I dropped that mashup right now because that would work. Get the crowd singing. They're singing. All right, bring it back in. You got to, and it's like on the fly too. You're doing this completely on the fly. Maybe you rehearse some mixes and maybe you're trying to do some mashups live, but other than that, where you're going to do that in your set, you don't know after you play on the first track, which is typically your intro.
And we're seeing some good trends to kind of button this up. Out here in San Diego, Insomniac just bought Omnia as far as their nightclub is. So going to rebrand an Omnia's nightclub, which is one of the biggest ones.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So what they've done in LA, like with Exchange, they bought our biggest nightclub here in San Diego, and they are going to make an EDM club. You know, fucking exciting that is. I'm saying this trend is starting to circle back. We always talk about the how everything goes in music. I really feel like, man, I'm the optimist right now, but I really feel like it's happening. I feel like this 2022, 2023, we're going to get back to the golden era.
Do you think that Insomniac Club is going to book Big Room talents?
Oh, it's going to be great because
they think so?
Yeah, because we have a club out here in Costa Mesa, which is like Orange County time, and you've got bass jackers that come through there. Obviously, Morton just played there last weekend. So I'm seeing these acts being booked in my region of Southern California, and I'm fucking hyped because it's back, man. It's coming back, and I'm really excited. And that's why, we want to all kind of be a part of this scene. So playing live, I really think it's going to take all of us to make it happen.
We're in it at the right time because it's about to blast up again.
That's what I'm saying.
And it's going to be Ultra that does it.
I agree.
That's my opinion. I think that's going to be Ultra. That's just going to.
Ultra always starts the festival season.
Yeah, it starts the festival season, but also, you got Hardwell's comeback starting that festival season.
The shot of adrenaline. And I'm not the biggest Hardwell guy. You guys know. I mean, Gabe loves him, and a lot of guys we run with. But that shot of adrenaline, whew, it's going to be huge.
See, I've never really been a big Hardwell fan when it came to his music so much, but when I saw him live, forget it. Even when he would play his own music, I'm like, man, this dude is by far the best DJ I have ever heard. Because he does, if you could watch his bigger shows, like his Tomorrowland shows or his Ultra shows, but when he plays a smaller festival that's not exactly televised or live streamed or anything like that, and he's just freaking playing, wow, that man is a fucking DJ.
I'm hungry to see these sets at Ultra. I'm hungry to see Hardwell's come back. I'm hungry to see the Tomorrowland sets that we haven't been seeing. And I know that that's going to happen this year. And I just think, again, all of it just kind of feeds into this ecosystem that is going to be EDM and the upswing. Regardless of what genre you follow, it's going up.
I think we're going to see like the 18, 19 to 20, 21 kids start calling it main stage music. Like that's the new generation coming into the scene, and now that I'm seeing that it's kind of being marketed now on Beatport and on 1001 Tracklist, that is this main stage name that they're giving it now. It's gonna make people not think of Big Room in the way it used to be. It's like people, like the older people, they'll be like, they mean Big Room, but what they really mean is the new Big Room. That should have kind of got a new name because we took Big Room to such a new level than when it used to be at, that at a point, I'm like, this is not even the same genre anymore. It's influenced heavily by Big Room, but it's not. It's not Big Room. It's main stage. I think we've had a conversation about this like maybe a year ago, privately, like while we were on Discord one night too, and I'm kind of glad that I'm seeing that now because people called me crazy, like, no, it needs to be called Big Room. You need to bring Room back. I'm like, no, stop living in the past. We got to start thinking about the future. Because if you keep calling what we're making here, that's very newer sounding compared to the 2013 to 2017 range, like what Sebastian Mateo posted on his Twitter, and I love that man for speaking his mind. If we keep keeping our head over there, like you're not moving forward. You're either staying put back there or you're just moving even more backwards.
Yeah, you hear that, Blaster Jacks? We need a main stage Never Dies hat, okay, buddy? We need some new branding from you guys. No, but yeah, no, I agree because
don't be hating on Blaster Jacks. I still love them more.
No, I fucking those guys are the gold standard. But yeah, just it's cool, like you said. I know people were very against that change. I was there in that, in those chats when Beatport had made that transition over. But it's good because it just main stage has a more like inclusive. It's more. It resembles more of the hybrid type tracks that we're seeing. It's not just solid drops. It's not just that on the main stage. So you're gonna get like thematic Squid Games. Holy fuck, that was amazing. That's main stage for me, right? Because like that's just that second drop. Oh my god, if you don't like that second drop, you literally do not have a pulse. But that's not Big Room, but it's main stage, and obviously Future Rave and all of those things. So yeah, it brings in a broader audience, which for the EDM ecosystem I think is extremely important.
Absolutely, totally agreed.
Well, I think we had some great conversations about the state of Big Room and just EDM in general. So I appreciate both you guys being on, like always. You can follow my co-host Robert Geaux at Robert Geaux on Instagram, and you can follow Chaotix at Chaotix Music on Instagram. This is the Voices of the Underground EDM podcast. You can find us on our Discord. The link is going to be in the description. Once again, guys, thanks for being on, and let's make 2022 a year to remember.
Hell yeah. See you, boys.
See ya.